Detroit got outplayed and outcoached and won. That's okay. That's not Detroit we grew up with. They are not a one-off from last year. They're tough, they're resilient, they're deep, their offensive line's the best in football, and that's a pretty good sign. The Rams dominate the second half with McVay and Stafford, and the Lions won in overtime where the Rams looked exhausted and just ran out of players. Now, the Lions got a little bit cute for me. This is a power run team. You know I like Jared Goff more than everybody else, I think, on the planet. Less Goff, more running. Two really good backs. One's a star. Offensive line's the best in football. I would just run nonstop if I was Detroit and Dan Campbell. So my first take is Detroit would have not only lost this game in previous decades and years, they may have gotten blown out, and they won, and they were outplayed for big chunks of it in the second half, all the second half except overtime, and I think they were outcoached. Here's my second take. That's the best loss I've seen in years for any team. The Rams were missing both their offensive tackles, their best corner, 3 offensive linemen, no Puka Nacua, down 14 at half, Sunday Night Football in Detroit, and Matt Stafford put on a clinic. That's the best quarterback in the NFC. That's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I don't care what list you're doing. He and Cooper Kupp, without Puka Nacua, not a lot of time to throw, backups on the offensive line. They went into the teeth of that defense and just first down, dominated total plays, dominated third down, dominated time of possession, and they were down several of their top players, and it got to overtime, and they ran out of bodies, and they ran out of gas. And Detroit, maybe because they were so fatigued, said, guys, let's not get cute. Let's just run the football over and over and over. And the Lions, this is what they should be doing. 9 out of 10 plays. And you know I'm a Goff fan. This team is built to control the clock. What happened in the second half of Detroit should not happen. Run the ball, eat the clock, force teams to get physical, because I don't think many can. So I would not be shocked. This was a great loss by the Rams. They'll never be this unhealthy. I would not be shocked if this isn't the NFC Championship. That's how strongly I feel about it. In fact, I think the Lions got too cute, and the Rams ran out of people. But it's week 1. Don't overreact. And here was Dan Campbell, the winning coach, after.
I knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. I did know that. Because I think this coach does a hell of a job. You know, I do. I think Sean always puts together a good game plan. And then Stafford, man, you know, it's almost like you don't want to hit him, because I think when you hit him, he plays better.
Yeah, Matt Stafford, whatever you think of all the great quarterbacks in this league, and we can put Mahomes on a level above everybody else. Then it gets into the Herberts and Lamars and whoever you want up there. Half of you want Dak. Nobody throws a prettier football, including Mahomes, than Matt Stafford. And for all you young quarterbacks, this is what it looks like. All you young quarterbacks, you're missing your tackles. Your best or second best receivers out. You're on the road. You're down 14. Do you understand that you could put some of the most talented players in the world in that spot as a quarterback, and they would be engulfed by it? They'd be overwhelmed by it. On the road, one of the louder stadiums, pass rush everywhere, missing your tackles, 3 missing offensive linemen. Your top corners are out. And Matt Stafford put that franchise on his shoulders last night against a great football team and nearly pulled it out. There are not 5 quarterbacks on the planet.
All right, he's just going to start to rant about Matthew Stafford. I want to talk about the Detroit Lions. Well, listen, that's also just Sean McVay. I mean, believe me, I think Matthew Stafford is a top quarterback in the NFL, but make no mistake about it, Sean McVay has a lot to do with that as well, of being able to make do with all the missing pieces. But let's talk the Detroit Lions. To me, it's always hard to draw definitive conclusions from week 1. It's just too specific. We don't know what these teams look like. We don't know what team is actually a good team versus a bad team. So it's hard to gauge how good was the offense, how good was the defense. I don't really know what we went up against, right? I just think it's too hard. I'm a firm believer that we need to see 4, 5, 6 games. We need to see teams that we know are looking like to be really good, like maybe say the Kansas City Chiefs. And then we need to play some of those lower level teams to see how, what do you look against them? For all we know, the Rams just continue to collapse and unravel, or for all we know, the Rams do end up making to the NFC Championship game, right? And then this game looks even better. But with all of those caveats aside, I was really impressed with the Lions, mainly because they proved two things to me more than anything. That they are both a highly intelligent team and physical. We often see it usually one or the other, right? Usually teams are trying to build an identity around one or the other, right? They're either really fast and intelligent with a lot of motion, they get cute, as Colin always says, or they're a hard, physical, right? Like old school team. And the Lions somehow managed to do both, which is awesome. And they all bought into it. They're all, they're very aggressive. They're still kind of continuing to go for it. Their offensive line is ready to go. It's hard to gauge the defense and the defensive line because the offensive line for the Rams was so depleted. I'm not saying that they're not good, but it's just hard, right? Like I know Aiden ate last night, and he had a big game, and they made Matthew Stafford uncomfortable a lot. But again, to me, it's just too hard to. It's too hard of a takeaway. Like I can't draw any definitive conclusions from that. I think the Lions are going to be trouble for teams all around the NFL. I think they're an absolute top team in the NFL, without a doubt. They looked so composed in a tight, physical, another emotional game. I know this isn't as emotional as, say, the playoffs were for them, but it's obviously Matthew Stafford. It's obviously the Rams. There's already kind of that like rivalry kind of boiling between the two of them. And I just think everything's heightened there right now. And so this is a big, hard-fought game, as we saw go to overtime, right? And this is definitely one of those games where both teams could have won, right? Both teams absolutely could have won. Amazing play by Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he falls and then he kind of just gets his fingertips on the ball. I mean, like that's the game right there. And it's those little don't give up plays that go tremendously a long way. That is championship winning football, right? That is the difference between winning a ring and not. And that's what the Lions showed me more than anything. And they showed to be adaptable. The run game was working for them. I almost forgot to say this, and I'm so happy I didn't, because I'm watching this game like all of you guys. And right, it was just run in overtime. And the whole time I'm thinking about it, I'm like, are they going to try to do something different? Are they going to get, cute or try to like throw everyone off? And they didn't. They just said running is working, so this is what we're going to do. That shows tremendous growth and intelligence, because so many teams don't do that. So many teams, when something is working, they're like, okay, this is working. Now let's take a shot down the field. And it's like, why? Why? It's one of the things that drives me the craziest. When you have a quarterback who's just chipping away at the defense, throwing 10 yards, 5 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, and it's just like not big chunk plays, but it's working. The defense is exhausted. They got him on their back foot, and then they go for a kill shot down the field, and it's either intercepted or it's an incompletion, and now it's 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, and like you just killed your momentum. And it just drives me crazy that teams do that. They rather than double, triple down on what's continuing to work, they kind of just talk themselves out of it. And they think maybe they're getting too predictable or they're just trying to throw the team off guard. And that's not what the Lions did. I don't necessarily agree with Colin, though, where he said that the Lions got too cute last night. I'm not exactly sure what he means by that necessarily. I think they were getting situated in this game. I think the Rams have a better defense than a lot of people believe. And I think what the Lions did was they let the game come to them. Jared Goff didn't force the ball to any specific wide receivers or anywhere else. They didn't force the run game. They didn't force anything. I think they let the game dictate the game plan. They obviously had a game plan, but they were very adaptable and they changed throughout the game. And I just think that was a great hard-fought win. But again, like anything, there's just you can't have too strong of takeaways from game one. And to me, this was very similar to the Ravens versus the Chiefs game, as well as to a large degree the Eagles and the Packers. To me, those were the three best teams playing each other. The three best games were the most competitive games, where it had the most concentration of talent. And all three of those games, to me, could have gone either way, right? The Eagles absolutely could have lost that game, and Love could have won it. The Ravens absolutely could have won that game, and the Chiefs could have lost. And here the Lions could have won, or the Lions could have lost, and the Rams could have won. So then you have to look for the little things as to what separated them. When you win these tough, close games that could kind of go either way, what was the difference? The difference You fall and you get your fingertips, and now you take it to overtime. Huge, huge, huge. Forcing the ball down the other team's throat, running, saying this is working, we're going to go do it. Try to stop us. That's the difference, right? Difference with the Ravens versus the Chiefs. Lamar had the moment, inches, in the back of the end zone. We don't even have to worry about any of the other missed passes that he made. It came down to those little inches. They could not do it, could not get it done. Eagles, Packers, Jordan Love had moments to step up, could not get it. Missing some of his receivers, some drop passes. It's those little things that, what takes you over the edge. And to me, that's what the Lions showed. So it was just a hard-fought win. You can't be anything but really excited if you're a Lions fan. But again, I just want to give the caveat, because it seems like everyone in week 1, people are just riding so high. And you guys can look at my track record. I'm incredibly high on the Lions. Incredibly high. Could not be any higher on them. But I just always try to be as balanced as I possibly can. And it's just like, you can't just see this victory and just automatically just say, yep, that's it. I've seen enough. Going to the Super Bowl, we're going to win. Because again, it's just too fine of a margin, right? Which is why I pointed out the Ravens, the game, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Chiefs, because it's just too fine of a margin. And so you want to try to be able to get a bigger gap, right? As the season progresses, I want to see the Lions have a game like that where they're going up against a team with a depleted offensive line, and I want to see them eat even more. I want to see them make that offense, the other team's offense look even more defeated. But again, that's a tall task to ask when you're talking about Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and Cooper Kupp, right? Like with no offensive line, those guys are still going to do damage together. So the fact that they pulled it off, kudos to the Lions. Very impressive win. Tough game, tough week 1 game, definitely. And I'm excited to see what this Lions team does moving forward. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions versus the Rams? Did the Lions impress you? Any takeaways, any drawbacks, any things that you think that the Lions kind of need to kind of figure out? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.